Hello and welcome back. I'm Nicole, a cottage witch, and today I'm doing the Tarot Academy Awards tag that Fairlight Tarot started, which pairs a deck to a bunch of awards. And the descriptions of the prompts are all in the description box below, as are the nominees in each category. I'm not going to go through who I considered for each category, but if you're curious, they're all listed there. And because I'm a bookish sort of person, and every tarot tag I do seems to incorporate books in some way, in this case I didn't want to do a book that was best screenplay exactly, like the winner of the category. So the tarots are the winners of the category, but the presenters are the books. This is what I'm going with. So for best screenplay, which is the first prompt, it's a deck with a great guidebook that stands out in a sea of boring little white books. And so for this one, for the presenter, I chose A Modern Herbal by Mrs. M. Grieve. I think her name is Margarete. It's a very old book, but as guidebooks to plants go, it's very extra. It's massive. It's usually published in two books these days, 2 volumes, because it's ridiculous. And it's just got so much. So let's pick one here. Apple. So it's got names, habitats. Some of the scientific names are out of date. What can you do? History, description, a lot of folklore, medicinal uses, and constituents, medicinal uses, dosages, other species, and then recipes. It's just not your ordinary herbal guidebook. It's extra, and I love it. And I appreciate all of the stories, the history, the folklore that aren't usually included in books like these, either herbal books or books, like plant identification books. They're just not, that information is not generally considered relevant, but in this case, it's in here. This is rolling. Yeah, I love it. So that's the best screenplay presents the winner of best screenplay. That was a very strange sentence. I may cut that out. I may not. I might be too lazy, but that was weird. Anyway, the winner is Bonefire Tarot. I just started using this, so I'm very new to this guidebook, and I haven't read it all the way through. I've only read a couple of pages, or a couple of entries. But it's got a mini blurb and then a long blurb of what the bonfire says. And sometimes, at least, I don't know yet if she does this in everything, but sometimes she includes reasons for including specific things that she's depicted, and then also she's got a list of symbols that are important for this card, which I appreciate. And these are just my opinions today. If I were to do this tomorrow, I may change my mind. Oh, and the nominees, the other decks that I considered, are down in the description box. I can't remember if I said that, because I'm losing my mind today. It was a day. Anyway, back to the prompts. The next category is Best Special Effects, a deck that is visually out of this world. And the presenter for that is Occult Botany by Paul Sater, because it's beautiful. I mean, it's got a gorgeous cover. It's got one of these fancy extra ribbons, and it's really beautifully laid out with a style of, I mean, I just like everything about this style, from the font choices to how it's laid out here, to the drawings that are used, to the way it says figure K.1. I just think it's all beautiful and I love it. Yeah, so this is the presenter for the special effects, visually out of this world, as books go. Mostly plant-related books, I should say, although not always, but mostly. And the winner is the Tarot Avatar. So I'm on a Gabby Angus West kick, I guess. But it is incredible. It's just, ooh, things keep getting stuck in the bottom of this box though, which is not my favorite thing. There we go. But I love the cardstock. Everything about this feels nice to use and looks nice to use. This is really smooth gold gilding. I like the borders. I like the banners, and her style is just spectacular. I just never get tired of it. Of course, I do like Frida Kahlo too, so yeah, won't get tired of that. So this is the visually out of this world deck. I mean, look at that. Sorry, I got distracted looking at cards for a second because it's amazing. Oh, I'm having some technical difficulties now. That's lovely. All right, the next category is Best Costume Design, a deck that shows outstanding attention to details. And the presenter for that one is a book that I'm currently reading. My bookmark just went flying too. Everything's falling apart today. That's great. I don't know where my bookmark was, but that's okay. I'll figure it out. And the reason I chose this book is because how many times can I choose the Witch's Cabinet for things? But I love Corinne Boyer. I don't love her publishing company, but I love her books. Like, they're all footnoted with so many other resources you can look into. And she includes so many details that I find fascinating because I like plants and folklore, but other people may easily overlook in other books. And also look at that. These drawings. She often has drawings in her books. I can't remember if it's her husband or somebody else who does them, or if it's a different person for every book. I don't know. But yeah, she's very detailed, and I like the footnotes in the index. I'm a fan because I'm a geek, basically. Like, I'm a data analyst with a library degree, so of course I like the footnotes. How could I not? And oh, my voice just went funny there. For decks, the winner is our tarot. Because I think it's a beautiful, beautiful collage that is very detailed. It's got quite a lot in it for such small cards. And maybe I can zoom in on it a little bit there. It might be shiny, I can't tell. The light in this room at the moment is a bit funky. But it's the care that was taken when they matched people from history to specific cards is incredible. They were, whoever made this, who made this? Sarah Shipman. Her care and attention to detail was incredible, because everyone fits. Like, I don't know everybody yet because I'm still learning this deck, but everyone I know fits so well. And every time I read about somebody I don't know, they also fit well. I love that so much. But we've been over my love of Frida Kahlo already. So this wins for attention to detail, which is the best costume design. It's beautiful. All right, next is, if I can get this back in my box, which I can't always. Best, oops, I lost my spot on my list. Best photography, a deck that has achieved an outstanding result in capturing the images. And so for the presenter, I don't have a lot of books that have photography in them. But I do have this one, which is, oh, let me zoom out again. Not that far out, there we go. Finding the Mother Tree, Discovering the Wisdom of the Forest by Suzanne Simard. Because what you'll find in the middle are some incredible old growth forest photos. I don't know why that was so hard to say. A lot of them are old cedar trees that are just stunning. Look at that. Is that not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? It's incredible. This is a grandmother tree. So she talks a lot about mother trees that take care of the community of trees. And this is 1,000 years old. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's incredible. I love these trees, and I've never even been there. So yeah, this book wins for best, or not wins, the presenter for best photography. Because look at that Western red cedar mother tree. Also, mother trees are important. Stop cutting down the old growth forests. And whoops. The winner in this category is the Somnia Tarot. Because, I mean, this could also have been a candidate for attention to detail as well. But the photography is so beautiful. I realize it's not a deck for everybody. I used to actually have an aversion to it. But now that I've looked at it long enough, I really quite like it. And it's really beautifully done. I mean, whoever, well, Nicholas Bruno is the creator of this tarot, so I don't know if he was the photographer or if he designed the photos and somebody else took the pictures, but either way, the work is incredible. So beautiful. Yeah, he really did an exceptional job with this deck, and I like it so much more than the illustrated one. Although I know the illustrated one is more, I don't know, less harsh for people maybe. But I like the gut punchy feeling of this one. Having a hard time speaking tonight, so that's great. But I was at an event today with too many people, so I am peopled out. And maybe that's why I can't speak. Anyway, best photography in my book. Alright, so the best actor categories, which are non-gender specific in Herbcrafter, are the leading role is a tarot deck and the supporting role is an oracle deck. And they're a deck that is the most prominent in expressing human nature. And so for this one, the presenter is an audiobook that I just finished today, which is A Walk Through the Forest of Souls by Rachel Pollack. This is the second time I've read that book, actually. And it's remarkable. It's very meandering. The title is really appropriate, I think, because it is a meandering book, but it's wonderful. It's there's so many ideas that just make me curious about life and people and theology, which I do watch a couple of YouTubers about, and just all sorts of random things. It's so good. But I also do think that she and the people that she talks about as well in the book do understand human nature, or did, quite deeply, I think. And the winner in this category, so this is Best Actor, which is the tarot deck. The winner is New Era Elements Tarot. This is a slightly older one, 2018, slightly. It's funny in the world of tarot too, how soon something becomes old, which is weird. It's a bit weird. Does somebody else find that a bit weird? Everything has to be new as of like this year, which is not practical for my budget. Also, I still like this deck. It's a good one. And I like it, and I picked it for this category because it's so varied. It shows so many different aspects. Like, some tarot can be a bit, not love and light exactly, but they can round off the harsh edges of human nature. And if we've learned anything from the current ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, human nature is brutal. I mean, it's sometimes magnificent, but sometimes it's horrifying. And this deck has both. It's got the really beautiful tender moments, it's got the celebratory moments, a lot of age diversity, which I love, but it's also got some downright brutal moments. And I appreciate that a lot, because that just seems more real to me. People will say things like, you know, where's your humanity? But humanity has always been brutal. My favorite is when people say that's, you know, they don't recognize the situation because it's not American. And I'm like, listen, guys, slavery? No, mistreating people is very American. It's also very Canadian, and I say that as Canadian. So, like, not all these photos are bad, obviously. Some of them are so beautiful. That's gorgeous. And, you know, some of them are incredible. But it's that whole range of human experience that doesn't shy away from looking at the harder things that I appreciate. That's beautiful. And I love the artwork. Yeah. It's a good one. And Best Actor in a Supporting Role is an Oracle deck. And the presenter for that is Gathering Moss by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This is a book that I'm currently reading with Bailey from the Bailey Grinds book club, which is on Fable, I think is what the app is called. Anyway, you can check out her channel. She's got a video about it. It's very fun. This is my second time reading this book, and it's beautiful. And you might be, not unreasonably, thinking, how can a book by a scientist about mosses express human nature? But there's something about Robin Wall Kimmerer's writing that's really beautiful and really connects people to mosses somehow. And and I could have picked Braiding Sweetgrass for this as well, but how many times, like The Witch's Cabinet, how many times can I show that book on this channel? Apparently I think quite a lot. But I do think she does understand human nature as well as moss nature, and this is kind of a beautiful interweaving of the two, and I'm enjoying it. And the winner is Somnia Oracle. See Yourself. And I love this one. It's it's newish to my collection. I've only had it for a few months. But it's got a keyword and then this sort of two ends of a sort of the polarity here is interesting, is what I'm trying to say. And so you might find yourself on a spectrum somewhere regarding how aware you are or are not. And the imagery is beautiful. And I think the keywords and sub-keywords, if you like, are very well picked. And the person who made it, who wrote this, Sunshine Connolly, she must know something about human nature. Like, that's an interesting sadness, defensive listening. That's an interesting choice for sadness. Because some people can't deal with other people's sadness. Relationships, distant, connected. It's just, I think I like the artwork, but I pay more attention to the keywords for some reason. Don't ask me why that is. But, well, maybe the reason is because it is connected to human nature in some way that I think is significant. So that's the winner for Best Supporting Actor. The next category is Best Documentary, a deck that excels in portraying the everyday life. So for this book, I veered away from plant books and magic-y books for a while, and picked Reading Lolita in Tehran by Azar Nafisi. And this is not a new book. I've had this for a long time, and she's written several books since. This is 2003, so it's like 20 years old now. But it's about her experiences as an English teacher in Tehran during the beginning of the revolution. And it is so good. And because she's an English teacher, she talks about books, but she uses books as a way to talk about people, because that's really what novels are. Even though the characters are all make-believe, the humanness of the stories are true, if they're good books. And so I love this book, and anybody who's interested in the situation of women in Iran should probably read this. It's a good one. Also, if you like books, it's, I love it. And so this was the Best Documentary category. My memory is shot today. It's done. It can't hold anything else. So it's a good thing I have notes for this, because the winner is the Unfolding Path Tarot. And I realized when doing this that I have very few decks that are like realistic. A lot of them are stylized in some way, or in the case of like Tarot Avatar, dramatic ways. And so real life they are real life. They're bits of real life that are stylized for different effects. But I think this is the most quote-unquote ordinary life deck that I have. And it does show a range of, like, people have commented before on the diversity in this deck, and I like it. It's good. And not just ethnic diversity, which is great, but also, like, different ages. I think there are people with disabilities in here, which I appreciate. And so it's ordinary life, but extra, and tarot-y, like Rider-Waite tarot. I'm having a hard time describing things today. Maybe I shouldn't be doing a video. Oh well. Apologies. I love this card. That's beautiful. I should use this deck more often. But I do tend to go for the more stylized ones. But I did want just a quote-unquote ordinary one, like an everyday life one that if somebody else ever wanted to use it, they could look at it and go, yeah, okay, I recognize this world. You know, and I think that's something this deck is really good at. That's beautiful. I love this card. So this is as close as I get to a documentary deck. That's cute. Yep. It's got such a wide variety of just everyday life, ordinary life. Like, that's maybe slightly less ordinary life. But this is maybe somebody's ordinary life. And yet it's sort of, I don't know, elevated, not elevated. That's not the right word. Tarotized. We're making that a verb today. So yeah, this is, I'll stop going through flipping through this now. This wins for Best Documentary. The next category is Best Director, a creator that has shown outstanding results in the coordination of the entire production from cardstock to art style to guidebook. And the presenter for this category is Julia Childs, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, because I have 3 shelves worth of cookbooks. I have a lot of cookbooks and books about food. This is one of the best written cookbooks of all time. It's incredible. And she put so much thought into everything, and she tested everything so thoroughly. It's so well. Look at all these tabs. And I actually think, I know a lot of people who are like new to cooking will look at the quick and easy short recipes and think, yeah, that's easy, I could do that. And you know, that's great for them. You know, more power to you if that's you. Personally though, if I was trying to make braised beef, I'd want Julia Child's recipe because she's so thorough. She goes through everything you need to do. She doesn't make any assumptions about what you do or don't know about cooking. And you know what the texture of things should be and what the state of affairs should be at any given point. So it looks like a long, intimidating recipe, but in fact, you could condense it to 1 page, but you would lose a lot in the process. You would lose a lot of information that I think was helpful to me when I was learning to cook about, you know, how it should look at this point, what it should feel like at this point. You know, this is why you do this, and this in whatever order. She talks about different cuts for the braising here. You know, cookbooks now just don't tend to, they just assume you know that. But if you don't know that, I mean, with Google now it's a bit easier to find out. And it's very well laid out too. Like the ingredients are all on one side and the corresponding instructions are on the other. And it's, yeah. The effort and thought and care that went into making this book and the second one are just, yeah, it's a work of art, this cookbook. Also, the recipes are really good, really good. So if you like cooking or you like French food and you haven't tried that yet, do. So just a refresher, the prompt is like the best coordination of the entire production from cardstock to art style to guidebook. I guess I should read that after the presenter, but we're like 2/3 through now, and you know, that's what it is. So the winner for this one is the Gentle Tarot, because she did put so much care and thought into everything, and it's the only deck I have 2 versions of because I love it. This was the first one that I got, and I can't remember which card this is, but it's the attention to detail is incredible. The cardstock choices are very good. Like this just feels, I don't know what kind of cardstock this is for the mini, but it's like buttery smooth. And the gilding is really good quality. And it's got a little, is that called spot gloss on the back? I'm not familiar with all my tarot terminology, or cardstock terminology, I should say. And I think these are all digital paintings. They're so beautiful. They're so beautiful. And she just puts so much care into everything. And then there was a sale, so I picked up the linen version with the guidebook because it's the only deck I've wanted a backup of, and I wanted the guidebook because she goes through, like, it's got the full color image, it's got a sort of key phrase, and then more detail about it, upright and reversed, and then this is my favorite part, the art symbolism. More people should do this in guidebooks, please. I want to know about your art choices. I mean, I understand some decks are sort of more intuitively done. And so there may not have been conscious choices if it was like channeled or intuitive or whatever you want to call it. And, you know, fine. But as much as possible, I would just absolutely love more descriptions of art symbolism in books. And this is a really well-made little book. It's beautiful, and it's pretty easy to find what you're looking for. It's just, yeah, I love it. It's a bit creaky because I haven't used it as much as I should, so I need to gently ease don't break the spines, people. Just gently ease it open, a few pages at a time. I need to do that and spend more time with this book. So this is the winner for Best Director because just all of the components of it, and she's doing an Oracle deck now, and apparently the Kickstarter is pending for that one, but soonish, as I understand it, and I'm very excited. Okay, so the second last category is Best Movie in a Foreign Language, a deck that excels in all the categories presented and that is awarded for lifetime achievement. So I don't have a lot of decks in foreign languages, so this one doesn't actually have a guidebook, so it doesn't quite tick all the boxes, but it's an exceptional deck. It's beautiful. I need to get a new bag for it. This is just one of these. Somehow I've ended up with a few organza bags. I don't know how. I never go out and buy them, but somehow I end up with them. They, like, multiply or something in the drawer. Anyway, this is the Tarot des Paysages Intérieurs, which is the Tarot of Interior Landscapes. And it's beautiful. It's these paintings by Camille. Yeah, that's her name. I had a moment. Well, I've had several moments in this video so far. So if you're still here, you're amazing. It's beautiful, though. It's very abstract, and this is one of those very intuitive decks where I understand that there can't be a guidebook for this one that goes into art symbolism because that's just not what this is about. It's very intuitive, but I love it. I love that. It's so beautiful. Of course, I'm from Saskatchewan, and winter on the prairies. This just makes me think of winter on the prairies. It's a bit bleak sometimes, but it's gorgeous, and I love it. And I think, like, is it the best cardstock in the world? I don't know. It seems good to me. It does have a tiny bow in it, but I could probably work that out given time. And I think that might have just been changes in humidity crossing the Atlantic and all that. This is one of my favorite cards, which is not, it's usually my least favorite card in most decks, the Three of Swords, because it's usually so unimaginative, and this one is so good. I love it. I also do tend to overthink and dig myself into holes, so that just works for me. So this is the best movie in a foreign language. It is in French, but I mean, it's got Roman numerals for the majors, and then the minors I think are usually pretty clear. I mean, there's only 4 French words you have to learn for the minors, so, and the swords usually appear, and the pentacles, you know, like it's usually pretty, I think, straightforward to figure out if you don't speak French. Amazing. That's amazing. I love it. I haven't used it lately because I'm in a spring sort of mood, even though it's not spring. It's not going to be spring for like 2 more months around here. But I'm wishing it was spring, and I've planted my seeds. So in my mind, it's spring. Oh, and I'm terrible at this. Where'd my brain go? It's vacated the premises. The presenter for this one that I picked was Zorro by Isabel Allende. I actually have this book in French too, but it was originally written in Spanish. So I'm going with a translation for this category. This is one of my favorite books of hers. It's not everybody's favorite book of hers. Some people really dislike it. It was the first book I read of hers though, and I read it in university. So a while ago now. It's not new. But I remember it being a beautiful book. I just loved it. It was very easy to read. It was fun. It was the first book where I'd ever read a depiction of like a scene that involved menstrual blood that wasn't, you know, shaming people or oh gross or oh you have to deal with this crap now and that sort of thing. I don't know why I remember that bit, but it stuck out. And I like the story. I liked the movie, and it's a fun California folktale. And I like Isabel Allende, so that was meant to be the presenter of this category, but I suck at this, apparently. So here we go. Last one. Best movie English language. A deck that excels in all the categories presented and that is awarded for lifetime achievement. And so the presenter for this is the collected sonnets of Edna St. Vincent Millay, because they don't miss. I've yet to read a sonnet of hers that I think is bad. They're just not. It's incredible. And I like the form of sonnets more than like free verse and that sort of thing, which I realize is very popular these days. And I don't like a lot of modern poetry. This though, it's not modern. I mean, I don't know my official time periods, but it's not from recent years. When was this published? This was published in 88, but she died in 1950. So it was written before 1950. But it just is absolutely exceptional. Now, I did try and read a biography of her life, and I couldn't stand it. I decided I wouldn't like her as a person. But her poetry is incredible. And the winner in this category is the Tarot Avatar again. So, Gabby Angus West sweeps the award. I just think everything about this. The guidebook in this case is also very good. It's written like, so Avatara is her stand-in for Frida Kahlo because she couldn't explicitly use the name Frida Kahlo because the estate is very like, you know, there's copyright issues and all that. So it all had to be inspired by. But this is from the diary of Avatar. So it's got a diary entry, meanings and symbols. And it's amazing. It's really, this woman does not do anything by halves. She just doesn't. It's got some bits in the back that I should get into at some point that I haven't yet. Why I haven't yet? I don't know. But I should, because, whoops, more things flying. Well, that's par for the course in this video. I don't tend to use this. She's got a couple, I think there's one other extra card. I don't tend to use those. But there's just everything about these cards, as I said before, is exceptionally well done, and I adore them. And aside from the Gentle Tarot, it's probably my second favorite deck of all time. And I absolutely, it cost an arm and a leg to ship it here from Australia, but it was so worth saving up for that, because yeah, it's incredible. It deserves all the awards in my book. So that was my slightly messy Tarot Academy Awards. Much thanks to Fairlight Tarot for creating this set of prompts. If you want to watch a more polished video, go watch hers. It's excellent. Also, I think Tarot Magpie has done one as well, which is also more polished than mine, because I'm kind of a mess at this point in my day. But anyway, if you made it to the end, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.